Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be installing a little square volt gauge in Big Chief, and I'm going to show you the most important trick in installing a square gauge. Let's get into it. Alright, so here in Big Chief, the need for the little square gauge, all I've got is a little battery light and it's been flickering occasionally, which could be a few things, but with just the battery light, I don't know what the voltage is doing when the light comes on. So for not a whole lot of money off Amazon, this little guy is going to tell me if the voltage is really dropping or if I'm just getting a bad reading and the computer's kind of confused. But if you're like me, putting a round gauge in, super easy, hole saw and you're done. But a square gauge takes a little more finesse. I'm going to show you a few tricks to do it. First things first, disconnect your battery. Mine's super easy. I've got this little quick disconnect on here. One thing you can do, you can get yourself a caliper, I call it a micrometer, and these ends are awfully sharp. So what you can do is if you measure the size that will fit into, if you look on the back side, you can see just inside that lip right there. That's the size I need, and you can lock it down. Twist that little lock right there, and I've got the height of the gauge itself. Now I'm going to put this gauge right up across in here, just under that lip. Now to make our lines, I can take this and just run. And I've got my top and my bottom. I'll do the same thing for the sides. Unlock it, get my side measurement on there, lock it back down, and now I'll just pick my center point on where I want it, about there, and drag that straight down. That gets me pretty close on where I need to be. You can see my scratches that I've got on there. Not overly harsh, but enough for a template. All right, to give me a little more room up in here, on the Cherokee, centerpiece comes off pretty easy. Gives me a little bit more room up here to work with. Now I'm cutting out the hole with the Dremel tool. I've got the effectively drill bit tool on there. Low speed gives you a little more leeway. If you turn it up super high, yes, it's faster, but you can make mistakes a lot faster that way too. But if I stay inside the lines, I can take a file and square it out from there. Now that I've got a rough shape, I'm gonna go ahead and, I've got crap all over my car. I've got my rough shape. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a file and start squaring that hole out. Now I can still see my lines down here across the bottom. I did not get all the way to the bottom of them. I got a little close on the top, close on the sides, but the bottom still got plenty of room. Decent file on plastic goes pretty quick. Check the gauge and see how close it is to fitting in there. Well, it looks like the sides are good. A little bit more on this bottom right corner to come out. But my height, I'm a little bit shy of where I need to be. Test fit again. Just a little bit at a time, back and forth, see how it's fitting. And eventually, you'll get a gauge that's ready to snap in. But we don't want to snap it in just yet. We've got to wire it up. Now wiring up this particular gauge is about as simple as it gets. It's got a positive lead and a negative lead. Positive goes to the battery, negative just goes to the chassis somewhere. Now you can run yours depending on how you want to do it. You can wire it straight into a fuse panel block if you'd prefer to do that. That way you can see how much power you're getting at the fuse. Personally, I want to see how much power I've got on the battery itself. So I'm going to run the hot lead all the way through the firewall and up to the battery. And the ground is just going to go to the chassis somewhere inside the cab. Now one tip that I would definitely recommend before you push that gauge and actually click it in, make sure it works. Now I've grounded to the chassis. and I've got my positive lead running all the way out to my battery. Let's see if it works. Fingers crossed. There, turn that down. You can see we've got 12.6 on the battery. Now we can go ahead and give it that extra little click. And it is installed, leaving just enough room right here on this corner to be able to re-snap in the center bezel piece. And there we are, all installed. Easy to see. And on mine, whenever I disconnect the battery, you can see the gauge goes flat. Because this isn't my daily, it sits quite a bit. That easy disconnect on the battery keeps the battery from getting all the parasitic loss that you'd normally get from just a car just sitting by itself. But now, whenever that pesky little battery light comes on, I can see what the voltage is doing and hopefully diagnose from there. One more gauge is always a good thing. So thanks for watching. If you got anything from this video, go ahead and hit a little thumbs up down there at the bottom. Go ahead and leave a comment on something you'd put a voltmeter into and why you'd want to do it. Maybe you like the round gauges better because they just install so much faster. Either way, leave a comment below and take a look around at some of the other videos I've got on the channel. You might decide you want to go ahead and subscribe. Until next time, thanks for watching. I'll see you later.